And so, hi, kids at home. We're going to finish up the immune system stuff today. We're going to talk about this, but also I'm just going to highlight a few things on the interwebs. Uh, I want to talk about this book, man. I think about this book about once a week easily. It's crazy. That's okay, man. I don't have any more.
I just made a really big mistake.
Is it like really big?
Yeah.
Oh, like life threatening?
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
No, not really. Well, I was in Miss V's room and Zoe was asking me if I cut my tank tops and I said yeah. And I meant like to say freehand it, but there's a whole bunch of like I think virgin eared kids in there. And I accidentally said I just freeballed it. And they all like looked at me. I meant to say free-handed, but
yeah, you can't
free balled came out.
You can't free ball.
I can't free ball. Neither can my t-shirt.
I'm not sure, but I don't want to say. Just kidding. All right, so here we go. You ready? So immune system stuff. It's so complicated. We could talk about this stuff forever, but I'm hoping you're getting the big picture here. And I really do believe that this colored sheet, for me, man, it just clicked. Okay, remember the top is innate. That's natural. So we're all gonna get at some point. You're all either gonna this is gonna happen to you. You're gonna know somebody that this happens to you. You're gonna get a prison shank. Okay. Wait, what did we do? Shiv, shank.
What?
Oh, you weren't in first period. We got in a long debate about whether or not you could shank a shiv or shiv a. I think you get shanked by a shiv. That's what we all. Okay. I love it. I love that Cody's like, yep, you're right. Yep, yeah, you got it. I've been shanked, I don't know how many times, okay? By prison shifts. Yeah, I mean, like, it's weird. It just happens downtown, walking, okay? Next thing you know, you feel the cold steel enter your body. And, like, those prison shanks have, like, lots of, like, dirty stuff on them. Let's see, Cody's like, yes, you're exactly right. Okay, so when that stuff gets inside your body, okay, that bacteria has to, something has to happen to it, okay, it can kill you. Okay, you can also bleed out. That's important to remember too for a person's shank. Okay, but that bacteria is going to be attacked. Remember the video I showed you the other day when that thing came down, it was like, and it grabbed it and it ate it. That's the natural immunity. Yes. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
I don't think you bleed out unless it was a certain location.
You can always bleed out, man. You can always bleed out. If you're not bleeding out, you're doing it wrong.
That's true. If you were in prison, you.
I love that the Cody's like engaged today. He's like, yes.
And he's like, obviously did wrong if they're in prison. So wait, isn't there a spot that you stop something in their neck? So like. No, that's the spot. That's your jugular. If you punch someone really hard here, they'll automatically die. Or in sex, we stab someone in the neck and they blow out.
Oh, this class. All right. Adapt is what's changing. My immune system is different now than it was a month ago. Okay, I got the COVID vaccine. Okay, things change. My body's different. Okay, I think we forget that our natural immunity, we have some defenses like the mucus. When I was 15, I'll never forget like mowing this field and then blowing my nose afterwards and just seeing this black. Like I was like, why is it so black? It's because I was breathing in all that stuff from mowing this field. Like it was an all-day job. And I was like, oh, thank God though, my mucus did its job, right? It trapped that material. That's the goal. Tears, saliva, all of that stuff is important as a defense mechanism. Our tonsils trap those things, okay? So innate immunity, that natural immunity is going to happen. And how do we know our immune system's working? Well, if we get cut, hopefully it turns red. Hopefully there's some swelling. Hopefully, not a lot of pain, but a little bit of pain and some heat. And the reason why it's doing that is because your blood is rushing to that to make sure I'm taking white blood cells, also red blood cells, to solve the problem. Yeah.
What happens if that doesn't happen?
If it doesn't, well, I've had lots of students, actually more than I ever thought I would over 27 years, that have had hemophilia. No one, I don't know anyone in the last few years, but
I
like,
know Hope's like Perry, which is Hope's mom's boyfriend has that.
has that? Cool, cool. So it used to be a death sentence, okay? So if you had hemophilia, you get cut, or if you were a female, you know, you got your period, see ya. You know, like now, of course, they have clotting factors that help with that. I've had actually a few females over the years that have had hemophilia, which is crazy. I never thought I'd ever meet somebody with that. Okay, the most famous hemophiliac of in the planet, most likely, is most likely. Why did I say most likely? Anyway, Brian White from Kokomo, Indiana. He was a hemophiliac. The hemophilia itself wasn't what made him famous, but the fact that he got a blood transfusion that had AIDS, and he died of AIDS from the blood transfusion to help him with his hemophilia. And this was in the 80s when AIDS was just coming out. If we would have treated AIDS like COVID, we would not have AIDS. Fact. Thanks to you. Man, you're with me today. Okay, now, what happens what happens to our immunity, like, as it changes over time? Adaptive change, right? We're going to adapt to a new situation. Our immune system's going to adapt. It does it in two ways. If you look at the bottom of this paper, you can see that right here, we've got our acquired, this is the same as adaptive. On this left-hand side, I've got the word antigen and antibody, but this is humoral immunity. This is also called antibody-mediated immunity. On the right, we have cellular immunity. That's also known as cell-mediated immunity. Okay, so if you're into this stuff, know that those terms are interchangeable. Notice on the left is where we have the antibodies. Okay, we recognize those. Yes.
So how is it? What about people who are immunocompromised?
Oh yeah. Right. We'll talk about that. Or some people have what's called an autoimmune disease. This guy right here, okay, I don't know if you could online, there's this picture. I don't know if any of you could see this guy's face. This guy has an autoimmune disease. It's the same thing that Katie Inslee, aka Katie Lemming, has. She was in this room. Well, you might have seen her in the school with Dane Schuler a week or so ago, taking pictures. Okay, her husband looks like this. He's not rocking the Kojak on. You guys know that reference, Kojak? Yeah. Kojak was a character who was bald. Okay, she's not bald because he wants to be. He's bald because his body rejects the hair. It sees it as a foreign substance, and that's what Katie Lemming's husband has. Yes.
Austin,
Yeah.
his sister and both his sisters and their mom all have it, like, but it's different. Like, they can grow hair on their head, but they don't grow anywhere else.
Yeah.
They have leg hair,
Yeah.
like, arm hair.
Some people, it's like bare everywhere. Yeah. Like it's sometimes, I think Austin can sometimes grow hair, is what Katie told me. And then it just like, it starts to grow and then it's just like, it falls out. Crazy. Alopecia is the name of that autoimmune disease.
Yeah, really?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I know, like, when you get stressed and stuff, like, clumps of hair will fall out. Like, it's part of, it's like.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That's a stress-related disorder, I think.
Yeah,
and I
but it's
can't
like
think of the
alopecia.
name of that. You have this that where bits of hair fall
Yeah,
out.
that's what happens to me. Like, when I get really stressed, I could literally go like that. And have some hand.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called.
I don't think it's the same as alopecia. I have to look that up. All right, so the key is the antigen. Okay, the key is like some foreign substance, and all of us in here fight that foreign substance, and some of you fight it a little bit harder. In fact, this book, why I think about it so much, is the premise is that our bodies, we become too clean, basically. Okay, and the fact that we become too clean, you know, with hand sanitizers. I know we're doing this right now because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but that our bodies we're not supposed to be this clean. Okay, and they've done studies of people who live in farms and people who live in like these hermetically sealed apartments in, you know, this nice clean environment, and their immune systems are not as good. So what this guy did to see if he could cure his alopecia is he got a hookworm, and he wanted to trick his body into like fighting the hookworm. Because think about it, we've evolved with all these parasites, and now we just kill those parasites. But what happens to our bodies over time? Like, are we getting lazy? Is our immune system like, I need to fight something? Hair. Okay, what about celiac disease? I'm going to fight the lining of your intestine. Okay, you're going to crap yourself. It's going to be horrible. Okay, what about Crohn's disease? Same kind of thing, right? Okay. Could it be that what if I could cure you with a hookworm? I'll give you a worm, let it burrow into your foot, okay, and then your body's like, okay, I forgot about the hair. I got to fight this thing. That's what this guy did. Pretty
That
cool
seems
stuff.
so uncomfortable.
Seems weird, right? Okay, that side, of course, the key is the antibodies. We'll look at that in a quick second, but I want to show you this. B cells and T cells are great because B cells were in bone. They mature in bone. T cells made in bone but mature in the thymus. So thymus T, bone B, but both of them live in your lymph nodes. So if you go in, once again, your doctor feels your throat. Oh yeah, you think you got something going on there, right? That's because these lymph nodes are like getting these B cells, like literally these B cells and T cells are growing this to like send out the weapon, right? And the weapon factories are going to fight those antigens. Now, let me tell you, in the video, I don't know if you remember the part where it's like talking about how these cells like take the antigen, they rip it apart, okay, and then they expose it on the surface of the cell. Okay, so like this antigen is on the surface of the cell like this. Okay, okay, so the antibody either binds to the outside and destroys the cell, okay, or okay, we get some other cells to come along and eat it. I like to think of it as something that I often see at the Everglades, okay, but I haven't seen the last part. Okay, so if you go with me, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we go next year, but there's no guarantee. Okay, but this is a place called Royal Palm. It's one of the most popular parts of the Everglades because you can literally drive up to a parking spot, walk like 2 minutes and see alligators. It's a paved parking lot. It's a paved trail. It's the busiest spot in the entire park, and they provide these tarps. Do they know why these tarps are there for your cars? Any guesses? I would have not known this unless I witnessed it. Monkeys, I like that. Okay, close. It is an animal, and that animal is these black vultures. So these black vultures love to eat the rubber molding and even the windshield wipers of cars. Like, no joke. I've seen them do it. Okay, would never have believed it until I saw it. One year we get there and we see this, and I thought that vulture had been like landing on a power line or something, got wrapped up. No, they took dead black vultures to put them at the edge of the parking lot to like scare away the other vultures, or maybe like the vultures see this one come in and then like, oh crap, it's dead. Did the experiment work? No. Great thought, though. Great thought. Okay, this is like exposing that antigen. Like something's going on out here. Okay, either maybe I'm not going to stick out, in this area. Okay, or I'm going to move away. But this is exposing that thing on the edge. Okay. Once we expose that, though, okay, then we can get these B cells and T cells to come in. The B cells are going to produce these antibodies. Here's what they look like, all big, nice and big. This is where they bind with the antigen. There's 5 kinds: IgG, IgM, IgA, IgG, or IgE, and IgD. They just discovered a new one, and it's called IgGY. Sorry, that's a really bad joke, but I've been working on that one, so thank you. All right, so notice they're green. Each class has a different thing. There's a chart that tells you what they do, if you're interested. Okay, so what do? Once we get the antibody and the antigen like bind together, we want it to be eaten by a cell. That's called phagocytosis, and those macrophages do that. That's that. They grab it and eat it. Okay. Sometimes they attach to these cells and cause a chemical to be released. Okay. The ultimate goal here, no matter what, is to have a response. And what's that response look like? Let me show you this chart. I want some sort of immunity. Ultimately, that's what I want. How am I going to get it? Okay. And I like this chart because it makes sense to me in my head. Okay. I can do it actively or passively. Okay. And this is the acquired, right? Not the one on the top. This is I get poked with the shiv and I die. Okay. Or my bacteria get eaten by those cells. Okay. This one right here is all down here. Okay. How's it going to happen? Either I'm going to get some antigens through natural exposure. Some people believe that we have peanut allergies now, like in this day and age, and we didn't see them in, like I never knew anybody when I was growing up that had a peanut allergy. Some people think it's because Johnson & Johnson changed their baby oil recipe and stopped making it with peanut oil and went with like palm oil. And so kids were not exposed to peanuts on their skin. And that alone caused a peanut allergy. Like literally you could build up antigens early, right? Okay. That's why it's like, it's important to expose kids to lots of things, and then build their immunity up. Okay. They're learning some stuff, right? Their immune systems are learning. Sometimes though, we need some help. Some things are so tough, like COVID or like hepatitis. Okay. Or like smallpox. We need a vaccine. Okay. And that will help us. Okay. That's actively. Either I actively like ate the peanut, like they used to tell kids, like if you look at the recommendations now, like when we had Ira, they said, don't feed the kid peanut butter. Now they're saying feed the kid little bits of peanut butter, make sure they can still breathe. Okay, but do that early so they start to build that immunity. Okay, that's actively. We actively, like at one point I was like, I gave Ira some enhanced, like, should we be doing this? It's like, I don't know, let's see what happens.
Oh no.
And he was fine. One time I feel bad, and maybe this was a good thing, I don't know. I was out bird watching and Ira couldn't walk. And I had him, like I was holding him in this backpack and I set him down to play in the grass. And then I looked down and I realized I set him an entire patch of poison ivy. I was like, oh boy, no poison ivy. Who knows on that one? Poison ivy is a weird one. Sometimes like you can never ever get it. Like I've had, like one of my buddies like, watch this, wiped his ass with it, and then next thing you know, he got it like everywhere. Okay. He's like, this is the first time I got it in my life. Yeah.
Mine's so bad that if I just I feel like
If you look at it.
if I look at it,
Yeah.
I would get it
Uh-huh.
because it's so bad with me. I just get it and I get it everywhere.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I don't even have to itch it. It just goes everywhere.
This is, hold that thought because I got to show you this if you don't know. This is my summertime best friend. If you do not know about this product, and I'm not endorsed, I should be endorsed by this. Okay, this is Technu. Okay, 1,000 times like if you and poison ivy do not get along, this stuff I keep in the shower in the summertime. And after I mow the yard or if I've done weeding, I just like wash with this. Fantastic. I promise you it will help you. Yes.
At one of my old houses, the tree in our backyard had poison ivy.
Yeah.
And if we literally just left the kitchen window open and the wind would blow inside, my mom would get it.
No,
And,
really?
and every single time she gets it, she has to get a shot. Like it won't
Oh,
just go away.
man.
Yeah, it won't just-
Major bummer.
I just don't understand like why.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, and it could change. It literally could change. Okay, here we go. With passive immunity, okay, breastfeeding's important. I highly recommend it. It's not the easiest thing in the world. I only know from experience from my wife. Like I just thought, like, oh, here's the boo, here's the kid. It's a lot harder than that. Okay, but we pass that immunity on to our kids. Okay, or we can actually get immunity from other people. Okay, one of my favorite experiments of all time was, I thought this was genius. They gave these, we'll talk about this again, but they gave these t-shirts. Those of you who've had me in class before have heard me tell this story, but like they gave these white t-shirts to girls and women. okay? And they asked them to smell the t-shirt and rank whether or not the t-shirt was attractive or not attractive, okay? But here's where they got the t-shirts. They asked dudes, random dudes, to wear the t-shirt like to bed every night, not showering like after a day, so they got their stank on it, you know? Okay, so the girls, and then they put them in this Ziploc bag and they sent them to this research facility. So then the girls would open them up and smell the t-shirt and say like, hot or not, right? Okay, they found out, this is the crazy thing. So then they took the blood from the girls, they took the blood from the dudes wearing the t-shirt. They compared the blood of both. So if you're a girl and you smell his t-shirt, you're like, that smells great. This guy's hot. I want to make out. Those people had different immune systems. Okay. Why would that be a good thing? Why would we be attracted to someone with an immune system that's different from ours? Yeah, it's a common, yeah, exactly. The idea hopefully is to have a baby with a stronger immune system. Okay, so all of you girls out there that are like, oh, I love my boyfriend's sweatshirt, it smells like that. I want to sleep in it, right? Maybe you're attracted to his smell because you have a different immune system, right? Okay, and yeah,
Imagine that. Just
And-
like being at a date and be like, can I smell
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
And
yeah.
Like, we're not compatible. Like,
I'm sorry, I don't like your
You
smell.
don't have a good
Yeah.
enough immune system.
Your
for
smell,
me.
your smell does nothing. Okay, you can like making out too. You can pass, like, yes, you can get mono. Yes, you can get COVID, but you can also pass along some good immune stuff. Too. All right, that's all I got. All right, now if you could open up your document from yesterday, and I'm going to show you who has not turned this in real quickly. Not to call you out, but I'm going to call you out only because I want to just make sure that you know. Because lately I've been getting a lot of people like, oh, I thought I turned that in. And they just didn't hit turn in. So Carissa, Cody, Emma, Abby, Sarah, Ethan, Addison, Matthew, and Abby Naranjo, who I haven't seen in a while. Okay, so okay, here's what I need you to do. I need you to complete this, number one. Okay, number two, if you've got it done, fantastic. Let me tell you what we're gonna do tomorrow or in the next couple days. We are going to move to the next step of this whole project. And the idea here is baby steps, right? I want to get us to that point where you're starting to understand things. And I know some people are like, oh man, I still can't understand this paper. I mean, it's like this project sounds great at first because you're like, oh, we just plagiarize stuff and it'll be easy. Okay. It's the understanding part that's like the hard stuff. Okay. And I'm not asking you to understand every word of this entire paper. I want you to get the main point of it. But there's going to be some things that I'm going to start asking you. Okay. So I'm going to look at your documents and then either tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, I don't know yet. We're going to kind of move to the circulatory system next. But I'm going to come to your group and I'm going to start asking you questions like, okay, so like this morning, like this girl said, okay, can you look at my results? And it said like, it was all about this, like it's about chlamydia in 16 to 24-year-olds in Africa and the rates of chlamydia. And so, and then how to treat this. And so I started asking questions like what antibiotic? And she's like, well, this antibiotic was in worked in the small intestine, but this antibiotic didn't work in the large intestine. I was like, well, what are the numbers? She's like, well, I don't know that. Like, okay, I'm going to start asking you questions about your papers to kind of like get us a little deeper. Okay. Now, people have been asking me stuff like, what if I'm not, what if on the intro and the person that does results is not here. Okay. Do I have to know that stuff? You don't have to know everything, but you need to know a little bit about the results. You know what I mean? You don't need to know the hardcore stuff, but I hope that you would know like what you're getting. Y'all with me on this? Okay. So start thinking about like the fact that I'm going to come around and ask you questions about your, not just stuff that you type, but also your paper in general. Okay, so you're gonna have to start to be able to talk about it. Yeah. These people, if you could, kind of talk amongst yourselves. The rest of you could chill, but I would love to have this done today for the rest of you. Thank you, thank you.
Just send me, I send you guys mine.